Hey everybody, we're here for a new episode of Five for Talking, third episode, I guess, of the season. I'm here with Caps, the captain of the show. We'll try to keep this one a little bit short. We'll talk mostly about Leafs here, but to open it up, we'll talk NHL. There was a trade, kind of a big trade, in a way. Uh, Jacob Trouba got traded from the New York Rangers to the Anaheim Ducks for Vakanainen and a 2025 fourth round pick. 2025 fourth round pick. Um, do you have any thoughts on this other than the $8 million salary?
Yeah, I was trying to understand as to what was going on in New York Ranger land. I'm not sure if they were just trying to open up cap space to sign Shesterkin, because not long after that, the Shesterkin signing happened. Um, but it seems as though the team is in shambles, and you know, um, there's um, what's the word I'm looking for here? Help me out, John.
They 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 just seem a bit like they're losing their footing.
Yeah, like the GM and the coaches not getting along, and the message is being lost in the dressing room. I'm not listening to Peter Laviolette anymore. Um, so I'm not sure what exactly is happening there. I'm not sure if they're selling, um, but yeah, I'm not sure really what's going on there.
I mean, yeah, and I didn't even have Shesterkin on my bingo card of things to talk about today. But you brought up a good point there. His contract is also massive. We'll talk about that in a second. But the Truba thing is kind of, I get it. You're trying to get rid of $8 million. There's been rumors that they were trying to move on from him from a while, but he was like their captain. I thought it was so weird. You made him your captain, and then within like 2 years, you were like, "Yeah, we're gonna trade this guy."
It's weird.
Um, and he's the kind of player they needed in a way, the type of player at least. I mean, it gives the Ducks a veteran. They don't need the salary space right now, so they don't really care. They could probably ship him off at the trade deadline and get retain salary and get picks for him, which is I'm assuming what they want to do. Um,
But it's crazy how they came into the season as a cup contender, and they have.
we talked about it like 2 weeks ago in our tier list. I thought they were the number one team.
Yep.
um, yeah, bad on me. It's an odd situation because I don't know really what they could do. I mean, I have a idea of what they want. I think they want to target like a Kadri or a Rasmus Anderson, which is on both on Calgary. And with that 8 million freed up, if they can convince Calgary to retain, I think it's like $2 million. They can with the contract they save from Trouba, if they get rid of this guy they just picked up or they put him on the LTIR, they can get Kadri and Anderson at the trade
Mm,
deadline.
wow.
That which is like two huge pickups. So, sorry, it's 3.5 they have to retain. Um,
Will Calgary do that? Because Calgary's actually doing pretty well.
yeah, because I don't know about Anderson. I feel like Anderson's still young, and if you're doing okay, getting rid of him doesn't really get you a win now piece or a high enough pick for the future. And like, I don't know how are we really just going to risk the draft when you already have a good defenseman? Do you know what I mean? Kadri, I can see it because they're not going to win the cup this year. So you might as well move on from some pieces. But you're also getting a draft pick from a team that's going to finish probably high up, and you're not going to get a great pick for it. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like Calgary's in the weirdest spot. They're in that no man's land of like they're doing too good to be bad, and they're not good enough to be good.
I see your point.
Yeah, but on the other note, the Shesterkin signing, I mean, the goalies do deserve to get paid. Let's get that out of the way. I mean, they deserve it. He's a top three goalie in the NHL. Maybe not this season as much, but we know he could do it. You never know. He could have been holding out for the contract and not playing his best.
I mean, that's definitely a possibility. But it's a record-breaking contract. It's the highest amount a goalie has ever been given, and he better live up to it. He better live up to it because um, you know it can come back and bite them in the ass. Uh,
Big time. And
it would make it impossible for them to trade him after.
it already has. It's his contract is completely untradeable because you can't even bury any salary from it because it's so big.
Yeah.
Right? To trade him to a team, you'd have to eat like 6 million of that salary, and you'd have to be in dead last to have that kind of salary space. Um, or in a full rebuild. It's for me, the problem with it is you set a precedent that now other teams are going to have to pay their goalies that much too. Goalies that aren't worth what he's worth, but because they're starting goalies, they're going to just assume that their value is that, and a team is going to get eventually a team is going to get scared and pay their goalie that much. Right? Like the Leafs are going to be dum-dums, be like, "Oh, duh, Joseph Wall's going to leave. Give him 13 million." And then now you've said a thing where all goalies have to make 13 million. So I think not so much for him, but other teams around the league need to be careful now not to make this become like a baseline level of what every goalie is going to get paid.
I think eventually it'll come to that, but I think teams were not hoping for this just yet because cap definitely needs to go up for something like this to be
Yeah.
plausible.
Any team in the last 2 years that signed their goalies for long-term contracts is winning right now. That's the
Yeah.
real winners of today's episode. Um, okay, let's talk about some Leafs. How are you feeling about the Leafs?
Um, I'm not too crazy about the way they've been playing for the last 4 games. Even though they won 2 out of the 4, I don't think they're putting in a full 60-minute effort. I think their defense is fine. Their goalies are fine. But the lack of depth scoring that they have has become a huge issue with this team. And I mean, we already know what they're going to be looking for going forward, especially in the trade deadline. But uh, it's become apparent that you shut down the first 2 lines, they are in trouble.
Tonight's up. We were filming this on Saturday after the game.
Yeah,
I don't know if you watched today's game, but that was a perfect example of what you're saying.
yeah. Um, I mean, I hope that that kind of changes when Domi and McMahon and um, you know they have a full lineup and they can spread it around a bit. But it's a huge concern. It's a huge concern, and they're going to have to go through another phase when everybody does come back and figure out what works, what pieces need to go together, and then you really won't see um, that come into fruition for another maybe 10 games and 10 practices probably after that. So um, I'm prepared for some losses coming up,
Yeah.
which has happened in the last couple of games, and it's disappointing. It's crazy how like they play so good when there was a whole bunch of people missing, but now that they're slowly getting healthy again, it's just a shocker how they can't find that depth scoring. Robertson's been so disappointing. Robertson's been so disappointing. If there was ever a time for him to shine, it would be this year.
Which is
And
crazy because the game against Tampa Bay the other day, last weekend, he scored an absolutely disgusting goal.
yeah,
And we were like, "Oh, he's back." And then he disappeared for the rest of the week.
yeah,
Um, yeah, yeah, I don't really know because like tonight both Nylander and Marner scored. Matthews assisted on both goals. They can't keep Matthews off the point sheet, but he for some reason can't score any goals. And it's not for a lack of opportunities. He's just can't seem to get the puck into the net.
yeah.
I'm not going to
Tavares
pretend.
playing out of his mind this year for the majority of the year. But you know what? If you shut those 3 guys out, they're done. It's like
And
can't
to
do
lose
anything.
to Pittsburgh too to is like so bothersome.
It is.
They were on a really, really, really good. They were rolling for a bit, and then they ran into Washington. And Washington's a good team. Don't get me wrong, but they don't even have Ovechkin, and they never were in a position in that game where they were losing to the Leafs.
It's not like they were dominating.
No,
It's
no,
just
but they never. It wasn't ever a point where the Leafs were dominating really either. It was
yeah,
kind of just like an even field.
yeah. No, I agree. Um, what game was it? I believe it was the game against Nashville, where Nashville's like just having a horrific season,
Oh my God.
which is another surprise in itself. But going into the third, they were leading, and all of a sudden, it's like the Leafs just woke up. It's like, why do you have to do that? You know, there's no reason for that. You come out of the gate, you put in a full 60. You should be dominating this team. You should be dominating Chicago. Um, so, you know, I don't know. It's just a little bothersome, and they need to get their act together. Um, but hopefully that gets rectified when they come back to full health and they tweak the lines a little bit because uh, Marner, Matthews, and Tavares and Nylander, it's just getting old, and they need to do something a little different.
I live in the camp where I do believe that you need Tavares to move down to the third line.
Oh, we said that last year. Um,
They're not spread out. That third line is not scary. Like no one's worried when that third line comes out.
I mean, there, I don't know if you recall, it was like maybe a couple of weeks ago when I asked you about Holmberg. There's I find him to be useless on this team. If the issue is depth scoring, he serves no purpose on this team.
He
Um,
doesn't even contribute really on the other end.
like he does nothing. So when we're talking about who should leave and who should be sitting, to me, Robertson and Holmberg need to sit.
Which is fair. I'm not going to argue your point on taking them out, but right now, when you don't have Max Domi and you don't have Camp, you don't really have a choice.
Oh my God, you mentioned Camp. I totally forgot about Camp. It's like Camp just totally. So you got Camp, McMahon, and Domi's, uh, you know, itching to come back. It's like, who do you sit? You
You
know what I
name
mean?
two people.
But the fourth line is the fourth line. It's a good fourth line. That's what they are. They're a fourth line. They're physical and all that stuff. Um, but when you're looking at this third line and it's Nylander, Minton, and Holmberg, that line ain't gonna get you anywhere. You know what I mean?
And Nylander is one of those guys too, Alex Nylander, that it's almost like a Jimmy VC. Not that they're useless. They have these like it's like fake talent. They're really fast and they have a nice little shot and they get out there and you're like, oh, he's really trying. But then by the end of the game, they haven't done anything. It just looks like they're like actors. They're putting on a show. Like I'm really trying hard here, but they're not actually doing anything.
I don't know if they tried it already, but I mean, if the Nylander brothers are gonna play, I might as well just play them together.
That's what I think too. I think
But
maybe you put Domi or one of the Nylanders or Domi as the center and have Domi Nylander or Nylander Domi Nylander, and then have that third line with John Tavares, and how when Kampf comes back, put him on the fourth line.
mhm. I
Because
mean, yeah,
like, what else do you do at this point? I don't know. Because the defense has been all right. Morgan Riley's still a turnover machine. Um,
they've been doing their job. Like other than the turnover machine, they've been doing their job,
I
and that's
agree.
what you can ask for them. And the
It
goals are
sucked that
playing
McCabe got injured. That sucked.
just sucks, man, because that pairing of McCabe and Tanev has been unbelievably out of this world for this team. So they're definitely missing him. But OEL is kind of disappeared a little bit.
He slowed down since the last episode when you were praising him.
Yeah, man. Like I was really impressed with him. But you know, we'll see what happens.
Before we end this, is there anyone or do you have anything you want to say?
Oh, I'm good, man.
Okay, is there any specific player in the league or specific type of player that you think the Leafs should target if they need to get someone, or should they just leave the team how it is?
You threw me a bone. You threw me off with this one. I mean, if Kreider's available,
I
but
mean, I don't think he's
it's like,
available.
it's like they have to get someone that fits their cap. You know what I mean? That's the most important thing. I've heard the rumors about Kadri and all this crazy stuff. Like I just heard a rumor the other maybe a week ago about Crosby to Toronto, which is insane, by the way. But it would have to work. Like it would have to work with the cap and anyone specifically. Um,
Or like, you could just give me a type of player. Like, what are they looking for? Just more depth scoring?
yes, definitely more depth scoring. Off the top of my head, I don't really know. But if you have anybody in mind,
No, I
yeah,
don't. But I think that you are right. You did mention that before. Um, you'd have to get someone that fits in, right? You need someone for the cap. You can't get like a Brock Nelson because you can't fit that. You can't fit a Kadri into your team. What are the other bottom feeders? What do you do? Do you take a shot at maybe scooping someone from Philadelphia, hoping that they're going to go into tank mode? I mean, I don't know. It's hard one to tell. But I don't have anything else. You got anything?
no, I'm good, man.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think about the Leaf scenario right now. Let us know what you think about Shesterkin, True Betrayed. Peace out.